Welcome to the All Financial Hour podcast with Steve All.
You know, Steve, there was a brand new study by Ipsos, and they asked financial advisors if they are adjusting retirement plans for this current economy. Well, about 65% said yes, and many of them are using a strategy they have never used before. It is what some refer to as the bad word in retirement planning, the A word, an annuity, Steve. People get really excited when you mention the word annuity. I want to know, what is it about the annuity that is so appealing today that maybe it didn't look so hot maybe 10 years ago?
For myself, it's always been the right tool for the right job. You know, I get people, they'll come in, and I know when I say annuities, they grow horns, because, they just, the word, it's a bad word, as you put it, the A word, annuities. And when you start to talk about that, to me, the right tool for the right job. I like it when people come into my office and they say something like this: "Don't talk to me about annuities now, Steve. I hate annuities." And my response is usually fairly quick. I hate most of them too. Which kind do you not like? And I get that deer in the headlight look coming back at me like, what do you mean? What kind? And I said, what do you not like about them? Well, Uncle Joe passed away and the insurance company kept the money. Okay. Single premium immediate annuity. That you did. You traded your money in for a pay stream, and when you pass away, it stops. It's kind of like a pension. But, with your pension, it completely goes away. So the annuity companies changed the way they do that, because it used to be if somebody prematurely passed, they would lose the asset. So now they have like 10-year certains, 15-year certains, where somebody's going to get paid even if you prematurely pass. So that's one of the things that they go to. And then we go to the fact of saying, okay, what part of a pension do you not like? Well, I don't like the fact that when it gets done, it goes away. Well, the annuities today with income riders attached to them, if you prematurely pass, the balance of the account goes to your heirs. So that's a lot better than it just went away. And then people say stuff like, I don't like high fees. And I say, yes, there are fees in some annuities. Variable annuities got management fees because your money's at risk in the market. If you have an income rider, there's a fee attached to that. Variable annuities have administrative fees in them. So there are fees, but what are you getting for the fee is the thing that I like to look at. They don't like the fact that surrender charges. Well, surrender charges is they are going to pay the advisor a commission. And if you surrender it early, they're going to get the money back from you. So we got to make sure that if you're thinking about this, it's a long-term product. It's a 10-plus year product. It's not something you buy for a year or two. Most of them. You can buy shorter-term ones. And then, they don't like the fact that the advisor gets paid a commission of 5, 6, 8%, depending on the product. And I say, I tell you what, I'm okay either way. If you don't like annuities, I'll do assets under management. I'm going to charge a fee between 1 to 1.4, depending on the amount of assets that you have. And at 1.4%, and if I get 7% for annuity, right, after about 4 or 5 years, I've made more on the assets under management than I have on the annuity. So I'm okay either direction. The ones that only pay the advisor a small amount don't pay the client enough because they have to have the liquidity. So I'm looking at this in Topeka. What are you looking for? What's the job? Are you looking for guaranteed income? Great. I think it's a personally funded pension is what I like to call it. What about protected growth? I just don't want to lose money if the market goes down, because we're near the, we have a 16-year-old bull market. It's going to go down someday. Are you protected no matter what it happens with it? So annuity, not annuity. I'm okay either direction. If you've got an annuity and you're not really sure how it's going to work in your portfolio, give me a call. Ask for it. If you're looking for how do I get that guaranteed income that's going to pay me a check every month for the rest of my life, that's important too. Or if I'm just looking for principal protection, give us a call now. Ask for that annuity x-ray to find out if it might work for you. And remember, if that's not what you want, I can do all your planning without an annuity too. So either way, I'm okay with.
And this annuity x-ray that you talk about here, Steve, is going to be complimentary to our listeners today. If you'd like to sit down one-on-one with Steve or a member of the team and do this, again, this customized annuity x-ray, give a call right now. That's 636-230-8824. 636-230-8824. That website, of course, yourmoneymattersstl.com. There was a new study by Nationwide Retirement Institute of recent retirees, and it highlights a concern that we've seen before. They say about 55% regret how they saved. They wish they'd started sooner, wish they had put more away. And that's not all that the survey found. Here's Carrie Hannon on Yahoo Finance.
I think that what happens is, and what this study shows is people who are getting nervous like this, especially these new retirees, they're actually starting to pay attention to their investment portfolios, which is fine on one hand, but they're making changes. And we all know that often might not be your best move to go shifting things around just when things are a bit rocky.
You know, Steve, I get what she's saying here, but why does it matter if you're in the pre-retirement stage, or maybe even early retirement? Why does it matter that you take that emotion off the table?
The worst thing for most investors is the emotional roller coaster. And I'm just going to give David and Georgiana come into the office. They've been clients for a while. And Georgiana, almost every time she comes in for a review, she's got like 4 or 5 of the doomsday articles that people have. Buy gold, it's going to be $8,000. You're going to lose 25 to 30% of your portfolio. But it seems like she must find every doomsday article that she could possibly find. And she comes in and she says, you know, Steve, I know I survived 2000 and I survived 2008, 2009, but I'm going to be retiring in about 6 months. I won't have 2 or 3 years to get it all back. And that's when we sit there, and I think a lot of people have that concern. Most of the biggest fears that people have when they're looking at their own retirement is, I don't want another 2000 or a 2008 to 2009. I don't want 50% of my portfolio. I don't have the time to be able to do that again. So if you're in that situation where we like to look at it for management differences, we flip back in those years, and a lot of us at that time were just in 401ks. 401ks don't have a whole lot of place to hide. They basically say large cap, mid caps, small caps. Large caps are the safest, mid caps are kind of next, and small caps are the most aggressive. So
right.
They look at these different things. There's not a lot of options in there. Or they have target date funds in them. Well, the target date funds don't really know or care if you have assets outside of your 401k. Mm-hmm. They don't really care if you're conservative or if you're more aggressive. So all of the questions that we have to look at to balance out somebody's portfolio aren't there when it comes to that. So if you're in that situation today and you're looking at it, I'm going to sit here and say, is your portfolio protected if there was a large, long downturn? Are you looking at just everything being static management, or have you looked at tactical management? And that's when we're talking about assets under management, of allowing the mathematical models to methodically change your accounts to try to remove as much of the emotion as possible. And I know, folks, I'll be honest, you can't remove it all. I'm in the industry and I get to look at it all the time, and I still get emotional just like everybody else does. Mm-hmm. But I know that when I sit back and look at it, the managers are trying to take as much of that emotion out of it as possible. So I'm going to sit here and say, if you're concerned about the market volatility that's going on right now, if you're looking at it to say, I've had some pretty good gains over these last couple of years, mm-hmm. should I bring some of that risk off the table? Call. Ask for the risk-reward analysis. Allow us to make an analysis of where you currently are and find out how we might be able to assist you with taking some of the risk off the table. Again, call. Ask for the risk-reward analysis.
Absolutely. Again, guys, no cost, no obligation here. This risk-reward analysis. That phone number, 636-230-8824. 636-230-8824. The Fed once again has passed on cutting interest rates, and the meeting was the last for Jerome Powell as chair. Now the political path has been cleared for his successor, Kevin Warsh. So does that mean anything for future rates? That's what everyone wants to know. Here's investment officer Stephen Auck on Fox Business.
The earnings numbers are powering ahead. Valuations aren't cheap, but they're what we would call fair. The setup looks pretty good. And, if you look at the demand figures, they're holding up in the economy. Retail sales, which is something we watch pretty carefully. Travel data looks good. Credit card data looks good. The investment numbers that are coming through look pretty good. And core inflation is holding in there. And so we see the Fed still cutting about 3 times between now and this time next year, which is kind of a Goldilocks environment for the economy.
I mean, I would agree. And if the Fed really does cut 3 times over the next year, Steve, what should near retirees do right now with their cash and their short-term bonds?
Well, I look at it for right now, there's different parts of our economy that are assisted by high interest rates, and there are certain parts of our economy that it's detrimental when we have high interest rates. So let's look at that real quick. Car loans, house loans. When interest rates are higher, you can't get as much. It's just that simple. When interest rates are higher and your mortgage interest rate, you can't buy as much house. So when interest rates fall, that will spur the housing market. Then we look at it on the opposite side of it. Bank rates, money markets, CDs, annuities and things of that nature that are going to be based upon interest rates. When interest rates are higher, things do well. I like talking to the people when they come in and they got that lump sum option versus the pension. And they come in there and say, okay, when the interest rates were flat 3 to 5 years ago, my lump sum was real high. And now it's way down. And they go, the company's taking advantage of me. And I go, no, they're not. What did they promise you? They promised you a monthly paycheck. Okay, when interest rates are higher, to buy that income, they don't have to spend as much money. So that's the part that we look at when interest rates are higher like they are right now. That's when I can get more income guaranteed to a person, because there's not a lot of difference between that pension check that you're getting and an annuity with an income rider attached to it. I can get bigger income. So that's we have to look at it from there. In the investment world, structured notes, they pay much better when interest rates are higher. Why? Because there's more meat on the bone to be able to pay those interest rates. Yeah. So those are the things that you have to look at. Is what I am doing going to be assisted? Well, what happens when interest rates start to fall? Then all of a sudden, it's going to cost me more to buy that income. So if I'm looking for a guaranteed income, now's probably the best time. If I'm looking for CDs, they have never kept up with inflation, but locking them in. Because interest rates are going to fall. Money market rates are going to fall. So if you're in those categories, once they get to the point where they're not paying you enough again, I'm going to look at our MG Income Fund to see if it's something that we could use to replace what used to be your CD or what we call lazy money, money that's just sitting in the bank. How do I use that kind of money and get a better return for it? So are you prepared for whatever the Federal Reserve is going to do? Because sometimes they're going to be up, sometimes they're going to be down. Call now, ask for that comprehensive retirement plan. Allow us to put a picture together and plan for whatever is going to happen. Because just think about it over the last 5 to 7 years. Some of those years, interest rates were so low you couldn't do anything with them.
Right.
Some of those, they're so high that, God, isn't this great? I can still remember when my dad walked in to a bank to buy my daughter a CD, and he complained when the interest rates was 8.5% to 9%.
If he only knew. Yeah.
If he only knew. Yes, but inflation was very high at that time also. So give us a call now. Ask for that comprehensive retirement plan. Let us look and see how you could be assisted wherever the interest rates go.
Thanks for listening to the All Financial Hour podcast.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business All Insurance Group, LLC, AIG. All Financial Group, LLC is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by All Insurance Group, LLC, AIG are not subject to investment advisor requirements. IPW and All Insurance Group, LLC, AIG are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. All Financial Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by All Financial Group, LLC.
This radio show is intended for information purposes only.